So, good morning, students. Hope my screen is visible to you all. Yes, is the screen visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
One second. Okay. So, the agenda for today's class is to know about the concepts or the problems oriented towards dynamic programming approach. And the agenda is to now know about how to write the algorithm for Warshall's algorithm and the analysis. And I will also be dealing with the introduction to Floyd's today, right? Floyd's algorithm. And these are all named after their inventors. So Warshall's, Floyd's. So, right? So as we all know, Warshall's algorithm is basically used to find the transitive closure of a given directed graph. So what is a transitive closure? It is the path matrix of a given directed graph. Okay. So in the previous session, we have seen how to compute by illustrating the normal manual method of computing path matrix, and also with a problem we have seen. Okay, but when it comes to the part of algorithm, you can just see here the algorithm is the same, the logic remains the same, but you have to embed certain statements, right? So now, as usual, you have the keyword algorithm, then the name Warshall. So Warshall takes one input, and that is A. And what is this A? A is nothing but a two-dimensional matrix. Remember, in the algorithm, if you have to write a two-dimensional matrix, you will first specify the row size, comma, the column size, the indices. So my indices A of two-dimensional matrix starts from 1 to n, and the column also starts from 1 to n, right? So you don't write two set of parentheses, one set of parentheses separated by comma. And just to make my algorithm, what do you tell, to be more self-understood, I am starting the indices from 1 to n. You can either start from 0 to n minus 1, not a problem, but just to make it self-understanding purpose. Okay. And what does this A contain? A contains your adjacency matrix, that is of the diagraph. So directed graph is also called as the diagraph, simpler form, right? The adjacency matrix is given as an input to you all, to the matrix, sorry, to the algorithm of how many vertices? N vertices. As I told you, your adjacency matrix is of size n cross n, right? So 1 to n, 1 to n. Are you all understanding? The row numbered is from 1 to n, column is also numbered from 1 to n. So the purpose of the algorithm is to implement the Warshall's algorithm for computing the transitive closure. What is the input? The adjacency matrix of the given diagraph of n vertices. So I should give the adjacency matrix. My pictorial representation of a graph will not work here. And output definitely is my transitive closure of the diagram. What is the transitive closure? As I told you, it is the path matrix. It is a path matrix of the, what do you tell, the diagram. So as you all know, we have to compute the, what do you tell, um, the matrices, isn't it so? So what are the matrices that we compute? What matrices we compute to get the Warshall's algorithm? What matrices? What are the matrices that we compute, students? R0 till
RN.
Rn. And you all know that R0 is nothing but your adjacency matrix, and Rn, right, is your transitive closure. That is R0, R1, R2, R3 goes on till Rn. Yes. Now, first let me initialize R0. So, R0 is nothing but my adjacency matrix. You can see R to the power 0 is nothing but my adjacency matrix. Then, what should I generate? Using R0, I should generate R1, R2, R3 goes on till Rn. Isn't it? So, you can observe, I have to compute from R1 till Rn. Isn't it? Right? So, I just put one for loop. What is that for loop now? The value of k should start from where, ma? 1 to n. Because I have to generate what matrices? R1 to Rn. And what is that k value now? K value ranges from 1 to n. Are you understanding? Then I should generate this R1 using R0. Similarly, R2 using R1. Wherein I'll have to check each and every entries of R0. Actually, while solving the problem, I made it simplified. I just took only the entries with ones. But the computer cannot do that. The program cannot do it. It has to check all the entries. So all the entries means all the rows, all the columns. So I should now write two for loops with respect to I ranging from 1 to n and with respect to j ranging from 1 to n. So what does this two for loop do for me? It will check all the entries. And you know that what is that relation that I need to use to compute Rk? From what, ma? 1 to n. So what is that relation that I use? Rk I comma j will be equal to Rk minus 1 I comma j. Means in Rk minus 1 I comma j, if it is already 1, my answer will be what, ma? 1. Same it is because I have used the condition or. So I have used the logical operator or there. Yes, so logical operator or. If in the previous matrix I comma j is 1, means what does it indicate? What does it indicate? If I comma j in the previous matrix it is 1. What does it indicate, students? 1 means what does it indicate? What does it indicate in the previous matrix if the value of I comma j is 1? I want the answer. What does it indicate? 1 indicates what? Students. Janvi, are you there?
Oh, ma'am, that there is a path.
Yes, there is a path between I comma j. And remember, I have put a OR operator. So what does this OR operator do? It is having the capacity of doing short circuit operation. What does that short circuit means? If the LHS is 1, it will not look for RHS. Directly my answer is 1. If LHS is 0, then only it will look for RHS. Are you understanding? Suppose if Rk minus 1 I comma j is 0, what does it indicate? What does it indicate if it is 0? Students. 0 indicates what? Yes, Trupti. 0 indicates what? Trupti is there for me? If Rk minus 1,
path, ma'am.
There is no path between the vertices I comma j. If there is no path, I should not keep silent. What should I do? I should check whether there is a path taking which as the intermediate vertex. Trupti, which is the intermediate vertex to be checked? Taking which as the intermediate vertex? If there is no path, I should check whether there is a path between the intermediate vertex k, that is through the intermediate vertex k, that is Rk minus 1 I comma k. So this should be 1. And so I have used the operator and here, and Rk minus 1 k comma j should be 1. Hope you are all understanding, right? If it is 1, the answer is 1. Means there is already path. Path is there in RK also. But if there is no path, check whether the path exists using the intermediate vertex K. So RK minus 1 I comma K should be 1 and RK minus 1 K comma J also should be 1. Then only I can conclude that in RK, I comma J is 1. Means there is a path. Are you understanding? So this will repeat for all the values K ranging from 1 to N. Because I have to generate R1, R2, R3, R4, R5 goes on till Rn, whatever it is. Are you understanding? And then finally, when I reach K reaches the value of N, return Rn. What is this Rn for me? Rn is my transitive closure. The last matrix is my transitive closure. Are you understanding? Okay. So now, looking at this algorithm, can anybody guess the order of growth? Can anybody guess the order of growth? How many? Okay. What is the basic operation here? What is the basic operation? What is the basic operation? Students, tell me. Rakshita, what is the basic operation? Rakshita is there? No?
Yes.
Yes, tell me. Yeah, what is the basic operation? Which is the basic operation? Which is trying to compute the intermediate matrices? Which statement?
Ma'am, or and.
Yes, or and. That is, this particular statement is now acting as my basic operation. Right? So if I execute this only, I will get the intermediate matrices. So you can see this is embedded within how many for loops? Within how many for loops?
3, ma'am.
3. So what is the order of growth? The order of growth, you tell me whether it is linear, it is logarithmic, cubic or quadratic. Which one?
Cubic, ma'am.
It will be?
Cubic, ma'am.
So when a basic statement or the basic operation is embedded within 2 for loops, it will be quadratic. 3 for loops, it will be cubic. That you have observed. If it is a single for loop, it will be linear. Okay. So we have to now analyze it. This is the algorithm that you have to write in your exams. Remember it. So you have to remember this. Rki comma j is nothing but Rk minus 1 I comma j ORed with Rk minus 1 I comma j, I comma k and Rk minus 1 k comma j. Only if there is a path between Ik and kj. I tell that there is a path between ij. Otherwise, no. See, if this is 1, if this is 0, you all know 1 and 0 will be 0. There's no path. Both should be 1. That's why here it is and this is or. Remember. And you should put parenthesis for these two things because these together will determine the path between I comma j. Are you understanding? Right? Let us analyze the algorithm. As you can see, the step 1 is nothing but the input size, and you all know the input size here is the number of vertices of the graph. Okay, n is your number of vertices, and you can observe the basic operation as I told you, the statement which is there within the for loops. Rk I comma j is equal to Rk minus 1 I comma j or Rk minus 1 I comma k and k comma j, right? And within the parenthesis, you have to put this. You can observe, right? Otherwise, the the precedency will be playing a role. So I want this to be executed together, right? This is my basic operation. And you can also observe step 3 tells you whether you want to analyze worst, best, and average. You can observe here the number of times the basic operation is being executed Depends only on the input size, but not on the type of input. Isn't it? There's no type of input here. What is it? You're just giving a graph. The graph varies depending on the input size. That is the number of nodes. Isn't it? If you give 4 cross 4 matrix, means there is a graph of 4 nodes. Only that variation you will have. No type of input is present here. Okay. So there's no need to analyze worst, best, and the average. So I'll have to put the summation now. I should set up the summation formula because this is a non-recursive algorithm. Okay. You can just observe now. Here, this statement will be executed exactly once for what summations? Sorry. This will be exactly once for what summations? How many summations should I draw or should I write? This will be executed exactly once for how many summations, students? How many summations? For how many summations?
3, ma'am.
3. Okay. Can you name the summations? Which is the first summation? Can you name the summations?
Ma'am, j equals 1 to n.
Okay. First summation, that is from left to right. Left to right.
Ma'am, k equals 1 to n.
And then I equals 1 to n. Then j equals 1 to n. Isn't it? Setting up the summation formula indicating number of times the basic operation being executed will be, say, let me take t of n equals to, you can observe the outer summation is dealing with the outer for loop. K equals to 1 to n, I equals to 1 to n, j equals to 1 to n. And this will be executed exactly once. Isn't it? For every value of j, for every value of I, for every value of k. Then the next thing that I have to do is, I'll have to solve the summation. You can observe there are 3 summations with respect to k, the outer for loop, the second outer for loop, and the inner for loop. Right? So you will have to solve the summation formula. Right. Now, can anybody, what is the formula that I have to use here? What is the formula that I have to use? So if I take t of n equals to, this is the formula that I have got, the summation. So how do I solve the outer, sorry, the inner summation? So which formula will I use for this solving? Students. J
U
equals
minus n plus 1, ma'am.
okay. Upper bound minus?
The lower bound plus 1, ma'am.
So n minus 1. N upper bound minus lower bound plus 1. N minus 1 plus 1 will give me n. Isn't it? And since the summation variable is I, right? I can treat n as the constant. To take out the n as the constant, again write I equals to 1 to n with 1. Again, which formula will I use here? Which formula? Again, you can observe again I'll have to use the same formula, that is upper bound minus lower bound plus 1. N minus 1 plus 1 will give me again n. This will give me again what, students? N. N into n is what? N square. Again, you can observe the summation variable is k. So you can take this as a constant. Take it out a constant. Again, use k equals to 1 to n with respect to 1. Again, what is the answer for this summation, students? What is the answer for this? K equals to 1 to n 1. What's the answer? What is the answer? Which formula again I'll have to use here? Which formula, students, for solving the summation? Again, it will be upper bound minus lower bound plus 1. Isn't it? So it is again n. So n square into n gives me n cube. So the time complexity of computing the transitive closure of a given graph will be n cube. So if you give 3 cube, suppose say you give a graph of 3 vertices, 3 to the power 3 times, it will check. Every time it has to check, isn't it? See, 3 cross 3 matrix means R0 will have how many entries? 9 entries. It will execute 9 times. Isn't it so? Right? So similarly, again to compute R1, it will check the entries of R0. That means how many entries it should check? 9 entries. To compute R1, again 9 entries. To compute R3, 9 entries. So 9 plus 9 plus 9, how many? 27 entries it has to check. So that is nothing but 3 to the power 3. Sorry. Yeah, 3 to the power 3. 3 to the power 3 is how much? 27. Isn't it? 27 times it has to check. Are you understanding? Right? So therefore, I can just tell T of n belongs to the order of growth so called as cubic. So in your exams, they will ask you either the problem or the algorithm with this analysis, or as a huge question, they might ask you algorithm, analysis, and the problem based on the marks. So you should know all the things. It's easy. So nothing difficult there. Okay. That's about the Warshall's algorithm. So with continuation with Warshall's, we have another algorithm called as Floyd's algorithm. What is this Floyd's algorithm? Okay. As I told you, they are named after the inventors. But you can also tell the Floyd's algorithm is also sometimes called as all pairs shortest path problem. So they given the abbreviation as APSP. All pairs shortest path problem. So in your exams, if they ask you, explain all pairs shortest path problem algorithm. So you have to tell what is it. It's nothing but the Floyd's. Okay. So what is the problem statement? So now, if I have to compare with Warshall's. So Warshall's, what I did is, I just found out the path matrix. So what I did in the path matrix, if path is present, 1. Otherwise, 0. But as the name indicates, it is telling me all pairs shortest path problem. What is it? All pairs shortest path problem is, I will find out the shortest path between all the pairs. Are you understanding? The shortest path. So now the concept is not whether the path exists or not. If there is a path, I should find the shortest path. Are you understanding? Between the pair of vertices. In order to find the shortest path, now your diagram is not a simple diagram. It should be a weighted diagram. What is it weighted? The edges should have the weights because I have to find the shortest path. How do I find the shortest path? Summating the weights of the edges that comprises the path. Hope you are all getting. Okay. So now, before I go to the relation, okay, or the concept of how to solve the problem, we'll just see how to represent the graph. So the input for me is a weighted diagram. Remember, normally in Warshall's it was a diagram. Here it is a weighted diagram. So in Warshall's I used normal adjacency matrix. But normal adjacency matrix will not work for me. I have to use weighted matrix, or I can tell cost adjacency matrix. I have to write that. So let me just tell you how to write. So again, it's the same thing. It is a matrix of size n cross n, but it is not a Boolean matrix. So you can just observe how to write this matrix. Just see the matrix. Can anybody guess what are the entries in my adjacency matrix? That is cost adjacency matrix. Students, what are the entries? Can you just guess? Look at this and tell me. 3 means what? Look at the graph and tell me what does this 3 mean for me? What does this 3 mean? Students. What does 3 mean?
Ma'am, weight of the edge directed from A to
A
C.
to C. It means to say that there is a edge from A to C with a weight so called as 3. It is a weight having 3. There is a edge, and the weight you are giving. Now we are not writing 1. If there is a edge, we are writing its weight. You can observe here also 2. That means there is a edge from B to A with a weight 2. Yes. And you can observe this 7. C to B. There is a edge from C to B with a weight 7. Right? 7. Similarly. Okay. Just observe, if there is no edge, what have we written? No edge, what have we written? Students. What have we written if there is no edges? See, you can observe A to B. A to B, there is no edge. What have we written? What have we written if there is no edge? Speak out.
Infinity, ma'am.
Infinity. So we write infinity if there is no edge. If there is a edge, write its weight. If there is no edge, write its infinity. Write it as infinity. Are you understanding? And you can also observe the diagonal elements. Just observe the diagonal elements. What is it? What do we write in the diagonal elements?
0.
So remember, what does this diagonal elements represent? Means what is it?
Ma'am.
Lobes. If there is no self lobes, so you should not put infinity. You should put zeros. So 3 rules you should follow. 1 rule, if there is a edge, write its weight. If there is no edge, write infinity. If there is no self loop, write 0. 3 rules to be followed. Are you understanding? Hope you are all getting. Right? This is the adjacency matrix. That is cost adjacency matrix. Okay? Now, as I'm finding out the shortest path between pair of vertices, I will use the name called as D. You can see I'm using the name so called as D. Yes. Now just observe. I will show the differences. Just see the differences. A to B, I wrote infinity, means to say that there is no edge. But you can see in this matrix, now I write 10. A to B, because there is a path from A to B whose weight is 10. So let us observe where is the path. Can anybody guess me the path from A to B? From A to B, the path?
Ma'am, A to C and C to B.
A to B. You can see from A to C, then C to B, this is 7. C to B is 7. Don't get confused with the values, students. Right? 3 plus 7 is 10. Okay? There is a path, and that's the only path, I think. There is no other path apart from that. Yes. Okay. So now, check for the path so called as A to, wait a second. Okay. A to D. Okay. Check for A to D, students. What is the path for A to D? A to D. You can see the path for A to D is between A to C, then C to D, whose weight is 4. Yes? And remember, we are checking for the shortest path. Shortest path I have to enter here, not any path. Are you all understanding? Check for next B to C. B to C I have written 5. B to C you just check. B to C. That is only the shortest path. So there are many paths from B to C. You can see B to 2A, A to C. Any other path for B to C? I think no. That's the only path. Yes. So which is of weight 5. Similarly, B to D. which was infinity here, but it is 6 here. B to D you can observe. Right? B to D. How do I get? B to A to C, C to D, whose path length is now 6. Are you observing? Right? Similarly, you can observe there is the entries made for CA and also made for the entries DB and DC. You can observe DB and DC. But they are all the shortest paths. Okay. So let me give you for two different paths. Let me just check. DC is 9. Okay, that's the only path. DB also is the only path. Fine. CA. Yes. Okay. Check me the paths for CA. Give me the paths for CA, students. CA. What are the different paths between the vertex C to A? C to A. Students.
Ma'am, C to D, D to A, and C to B, B to A.
Yes. C to D, D to A. So what is the length of that path? C to D, D to A. What is the length?
7, ma'am.
7. One is 7. The other path? Other path, what you said for C to A? C to D, C to B, B to A. What is the length of that path?
9, ma'am.
9. So and you can observe out of these two paths, I have to select the shortest one. So I have to put here 7, but not 9. Hope you are all understanding. Right? Okay. And you can also observe here, though there are paths between the self loops, so it will remain as 0 only. So we will not fill this. You can observe, I think you have paths from A to A, right? A to A, B to B, everything there are paths, but we will not consider the paths for self loop. Okay? Between every pair of vertices, means to say A to B, A to C, A to D, but not A to A. No. Are you understanding now? Hope you are all getting it. So how to construct the cos adjacency matrix? What is Floyd's algorithm doing is to compute the shortest path between every pair of vertices, but not the same pair of vertices. No self loops. Hope you are all getting. But in Warshalls, we used to compute the paths between the self loops also, but not in Floyd's. Okay. Now again, the Floyd's will also make use of the same aspect, constructing the matrices in the sequence of n cross n matrices. So I will name it as D0, D1, D2 and Dn. Okay. Now anybody can guess me what is D0 in this Floyd's? D0 is what for me? What is it? What is D0? In Warshalls, what was R0? R0 was what? The first matrix. What was R0?
Adjacency.
R0 was what? R0 was the adjacency matrix. In Floyd's, D0 will be what? Students, D0 will be what, ma? The cost adjacency matrix. Whatever is the matrix input being given, that will be your D0. And the last matrix, that is Dn, will be your all pair shortest path matrix. Are you understanding? Right? That is your all pair shortest path matrix. And this intermediate matrices that you get, D1, D2, where k ranges from 1 to n. Okay. What does the dk I comma j indicate? Cost of the path, isn't it? If and only if there is a shortest path from I to j. wherein the first k vertices will be allowed as intermediate. Again, the same thing. Shortest path between I to j, wherein the first k vertices will be acting as the intermediate. Are you understanding? Now, the same formula what we had used, I'll use the same again. So on every kth iteration, the algorithm determines the shortest path between every pair of vertices I comma j using only vertices from where 1 to k as intermediate. So what is that equation, or I can tell the relation that I find out to compute the intermediate matrices? Something like this. dk I comma j is equal to, so there is no and or. Just observe. dk minus 1 I comma j, comma, dk minus 1 I comma k plus dk minus 1 k comma j. And I put this within the min. Can anybody guess what does this give me in the previous matrix? What does it give me? In the previous matrix, that is k minus 1, I get d of k minus 1 I comma j. So what do I get, students? What do I get here? Students, what do I get here? Students, hope you are all getting. What do I get here, ma? The shortest path between which vertices? Between which vertices? The cost of the shortest path between which vertices? Someone can answer me, Janvi?
Ma'am, I and J.
Okay. If there is a path already existing, so I will get the shortest path. Okay, between I and J. So it might be existing or not existing. If it is existing, I will get some value. Say for example, the length is say 32. If there is existing. If it is not existing, I will get what value, ma? The path will be infinity. It will be infinity. If there is no path, means infinity. Are you understanding? Now, if there is no path, I just found out there is a path, there is no path. And also, I will find out, is there a path existing between I to j using which as the intermediate? Which as the intermediate? Who is the intermediate here? Who is the intermediate vertex?
K, ma'am.
K. K acts as the intermediate vertex. So I should find out the distance of reaching I to j via the k. So you can see here. See, I to k, some distance I will get. K to j, I will get some distance. Say for example, I to k, I get the distance so called as 10. K to j, I get a distance so called as 12. So what should I do with these two distances? I to k, k to j. What should I do, students? I should add them in order to get the distance between which vertices? Which vertices, students? This adding these two distances will give me the distance between which vertices? Anybody can tell me? Adding the distance between I to k and k to j will give me the distance between
I to J, ma'am.
I to j. So if I add it, so I get 22. Take the same example. Earlier you found that it was 32. Between k, I found it is 22. So which one should I update now? Which one should I take?
22, ma'am.
22. That's the reason I put one thing here, that is minimum of these two. So what am I trying to convey here is, I check whether there is a path already existing, and also I check is there a path between k acting as the intermediate, and take the shortest among them. Suppose for example, if it is not existing, so it was infinity comma 22. Again, which one I will select? Which is minimum here? Again, I select what? It is 22. Because infinity is more. Infinity is more, isn't it? The minimum is 22. You can observe two things can happen. Already path is there, that might be the greater one. There is no path, you will get a path. Either of two things. Are you understanding? So you have to remember this. Right? Now, writing algorithm now quite becomes simpler. Right? So you can see instead of A, I have to write W because W is my weighted matrix. I'm understanding. So implements all pair shortest path problem. So the weight matrix I have to write. No negative length cycle means to say you should not have negative weights. No negative weights. Okay, usually we don't give that. Then the output is the distance matrix. So always sometimes they call it as distance matrix, shortest distance matrix, right? Or APSP, all pair shortest path matrix. And you can see D. I take D, and you can now observe I have not written D of 0. D of 0 is now not required. See, it is such a way that I just overwrite it. If you want, you can write, but not required. We keep overwriting the values in the same matrices. Not a problem. So D is assigned with W. It's not necessary if W can be overwritten. That means this is not required if I use W only. But right now I'll assign it to W. Sorry, W is assigned to D. Similarly, I have K, I, and J. For every value of K ranging from 1 to N, I should check all the entries in the matrices I to J. Isn't it? Right? So D of Ij is nothing but min of D of Ij. So what is this D of Ij? The distance between I to J already existing, comma, check whether there is a distance between K acting as a intermediate. Are you understanding? Check which is minimum, get updated. And you can observe I have not used any D0, DK and other things and all. I am using a single matrix and overwriting the same. I can do that also, not a problem. Are you understanding? Hope you are all getting. Then return D. Same thing. There's nothing different. Only thing is you have to remember this. That's all. Minimum of D of Ij, comma, D of Ik plus D of Kj. Yes? Okay. So again now, if I have to analyze this, it is the same as Warshall's. Yes, students? Which is a basic operation. Which is a basic operation here. Students, which is a basic operation. Which is a basic operation. Can I know the basic operation? Someone can give me the basic operation. Students, the Warshalls, which is a basic operation. Navya? Navya is there? No. Ranjit? Which is a basic operation, ma?
And all, ma'am.
Huh? I could not hear you.
And
The
all,
basic
ma'am.
No, here in Floyd's. In Floyd's, which is a basic operation here. The statement you tell, which is the basic statement, basic operation statement.
D of Ij
D of Ij.
and is minimum, and D of Ik plus D of Kj.
Yes. So this statement now acts as the minimum value. Sorry, minimum I'm telling. The what do you tell? The basic operation. Yes. D of Ij is nothing but minimum of D of Ij, comma, D of Ik plus D of Kj. Right? The same thing it is again. The input size is the number of vertices. The basic operation is D of Ij, minimum of D of Ij, comma, D of Ik plus D of Kj. Right? And you can see the number of times the basic operation gets executed depends only on the input size, but not on the type of input. Again, we have the same summation with 3 for loops, right? You can see that the outer for loop is with respect to k. You can observe k. The outer second for loop is I, and third one is j. Same thing again. So what is the time complexity? Can anybody guess? It's the same thing. What is the time complexity? What is the time complexity of fluids? Students. At least order of growth you can tell me. Looking at the summation, what is the order of growth?
Cubic, ma'am.
Cubic. Right? It's again the same thing, yeah. Same thing you will have to solve. Outer, the innermost summation, upper bound minus lower bound plus 1, you get n. Take out the n as a constant. Again, the summation with respect to I, again upper bound minus lower bound plus 1. This gives me n. N into n is n square. Take again n square constant. We take this, again it is upper bound minus lower bound plus 1. This gives me n. The total it is n cube. That means to say, to compute the intermediate matrices, every time you should verify all the entries in your matrix. If it is 3 noded matrix or 3 node matrix, 3 cross 3 matrix, to generate R1, you should check R0, all the entries. Again, R2, you should check R1, all the entries. To generate R3, R2, all the entries. Isn't it? So you will see 9 entries, 9 plus 9 plus 9, 27 entries. Understood? That's why it is n cube. Therefore, T of n belongs to theta of n cube. Now you're understanding, right? It's about the analysis. So we have this problem, which is part of your exam too. So we will see this in the next class, how to solve them. Yes? Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. The next class, I will solve that for you. Any doubts, students? You can ask me. Okay. So I just want you all to type the basic operation of Warshall and first type basic operation of fluid. So what is that you have to keep in mind? Just type that in your chat box. Just type that in the chat box. Basic operation of fluids. What is that? What is the basic operation of fluids? Students. Nobody is listening to me. Students. What is the basic operation of fluids? Okay, what does fluids compute at least? What does it compute? Yes, d of ij is minimum of d of ij, comma, okay, d of ik plus d of kj. Yes, all pair shortest path problem. Okay, Rakshit, okay, Trupti, can you tell me what does that mean? D of ij, minimum of d of ij, comma, d of ik plus d of kj. What does it mean?
And we have to choose the shortest path between both, like dk minus 1 I.
Fine, fine. Okay. What does d of ij give me?
The path between I to j.
The distance of the path between I to j. Distance. It gives the distance. Okay. What does this d of ik plus d of kj give me?
It takes k as the intermediate path, intermediate vertex, and it gives the distance of the path between I to k and then from k to j.
Why should I add them?
To get the path distance of the path between I to j.
Yes,
and
very good.
As intermediate vertex.
Yes, very good. Okay, very good, Trupti. So you have to take k as intermediate vertex, find the distance between I to k, then k to j. Add them to get the distance between I to j. Okay. Tell me the constraint to construct the weighted graph. If there is a edge, what should you add? what should you enter? If there is a edge. Wait. Okay, very good. There is no edge. No edge. Infinity. Okay. No self loops. It should be 0. No self loops means 0. If there is a self loop, write its weight. No self loops means you should put 0. I hope you are all getting. And remember, in all pair shortest path problem, we are finding the shortest path between every pair of vertices. Okay, but not between the same vertices. Not shortest path between A to A, B to B, C to C, C to D. I hope you are all getting it. You can see in the example which I have posted here, right? Though there is a path from A to A, B to B, C to C, D to D, it is at 0. It is at 0. Hope you are all getting it. Yes. Fine. Okay. As an assignment, you take this graph, construct the weight matrix and the distance matrix. Shortest path, distance matrix. I'll post this in the group. Hope you can all do it. Shortest path, when you are selecting, check whether it is the shortest path. You have to check. Okay. Janvi, I think you can present. Meantime, I'll take the attendance. Janvi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Just present it so that they can just look into it later.
So,
Ma'am, first one I'll present, ma'am. She is not well, so she'll present second one.
Who is not well?
Janvi.
Oh, is it? Okay. Fine, Ranjit. Both you have not done, Ranjit.
I've done, ma'am. Second one she will explain, ma'am. First one I'll explain.
No need to explain. Just present. That's sufficient.
then I present, ma'am.
Okay, anything is fine. If you, because now I'm taking attendance, I will be talking. So just scroll down slowly so that they just see. Okay? Yes, Janvi, can you do it? If not, I will give to Ranjit only.
Yes, ma'am, I can present.
Okay, pa. Okay.
Ma'am, is the screen visible? Ma'am?
It's yes, ma. Yeah, I think I am only presenting. 1 second. Okay. Students, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, continue. Just scroll down. Those who have done the problem, check the intermediate matrices. Okay. R0, R1, R2. Come down, Janvi. Scroll down. Okay. Go above. Just check the intermediate matrices. Slowly you can go above. Scroll down, sorry.